All right, guys, I wanted to make another video for you to help you with number lines. And a couple of mistakes that I've been noticing is that some of you don't remember that you work between 0 and 1 unless it's a mixed number. And so you've got to make sure in your number line that you label your whole numbers, and that's going to be very important. And so I'm going to go through this with you again to make sure everybody understands how to label fractions on a number line. So let's say we have a number line here, and if you would like to, you can pause the video and get you a piece of paper or a whiteboard, whatever you might have at home, and work along with me. And you can pause the video when you need to do this. So I would encourage you to get yourself something to write with and to write on, and let's work through this together and do some practice with number lines. All right, guys, I hope you've took time to find you something to write on. And so let's go ahead and take a second and draw yourself a number line. Draw you a straight line, then draw you 3 longer vertical lines. And on each one of those, we're going to put a whole number. The bigger the line, that's going to be our whole number. And you always have to start with 0. So take and label this one 0. This one will be 1. And this one will be 2. Okay? And remember, if I get ahead of you, you can always pause the video to stop to get caught up. All right, remember, this right here, from 0 to this next number, that's a whole number. Okay? And anything in between here will be our fraction marks. Just like from 1 to 2. From 1 to 2, that's another whole number. But anything in between here will be our fraction marks. Okay? And so let's take, and first of all, let's start and review. Let's just do a simple fraction. Let's say, and you have the fraction 3/4, and you're asked to put that on the number line. Well, what you have to do, 3/4 has no whole number sitting over here to the left of it. So you know it is less than 1. So it has to come in this area here. It's not going to go past the 1 because there's not a 1 sitting here next to it. And in order for you to be able to decide where it is in the number line, you've got to see what the fraction is. The denominator is has a 4 in the bottom. So I know I have to split this into fourths. Remember, 1 is the same thing. If this is in fourths, remember the number 1, a whole number, is the same thing as saying 4/4. So I already know that there's the 4/4. So now I've got to plug in 1, 2, and 3/4. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to draw 3 lines right here. And the reason why I only need 3 is because this one right here represents your fourth, your 4/4. Okay, and so remember, each little jump you take is one of your fourths. So from the 0, when you start at the 0 and come off and you move 1, that's 1/4. When I'm at the 1/4 and I move and jump again, that's my second jump. That's 2/4. When I stop or come off of the 2/4 here and I jump again, that's my 3/4. And then when I take another jump from 3/4 over here to the 1, you've already said that that is your 4/4. Okay, so I'll give you a second to finish that if you need to. But just remember, when you're trying to put fractions on a number line, count the jumps and try to keep them as, equally spaced the best you can. And I know it's not going to be perfect when you're drawing by hand. Okay, and so if I was asked to label 3/4, now I know that 3/4 is right here. Okay. But let's say you're asked to put a mixed number on a number line. Okay, let's say you're asked to put 1 2/3. Write that mixed number somewhere. Remember, we've talked about this. This is a mixed number because it has the whole number and the fraction. So 1 being the whole number, 2/3 being the fraction. Well, on a number line, you know it has to come in between 1 and 2 because I see right here, it has a 1 as the whole number, so it's at least 1. It's got to be bigger than 1 because it has that fraction. But it's less than 2 because there's not a 2 here, there's a 1. So I know it has to come between 1 and 2. So now what I've got to do, I've got to figure out, I already have my whole number, there it is. I know it's not bigger than 2. I've got to figure out the fraction part now. Just like you did 3/4 over here, we're going to do 2/3. All right, now this one. When you're working with mixed numbers, if I know it's greater than 1, my next whole number is going to be 2. I know that this one will be my 3/3 over here. Okay, because this is my 1 whole. This 3/3 would make my next whole number would be 2. So now I've got to figure out where 1/3 and 2/3 would be. So I'm going to take this number line and I have to divide it into 3 sections. Okay, 3 jumps. So I'm going to say 1/3, 2/3, and of course this one would be your 3/3. We've already got that one. So when you come off of the 1, because remember this is 1 and 2/3, when you come off of the 1, okay, this one would be your 1/3. When you come off your 1/3 and jump again, your second jump, that's going to be your 2/3. When you come off of your 2/3 and jump a third time, that's going to be your 3/3. So now this one, remember you were trying to find 1 and 2/3. Well, I knew I had to go past the 1. 2/3 can't be over here between the 0 and the 1 because it's 1 and 2/3. It's 1 plus some. So I'm going past the 1 and I'm going to go find the 2/3. So 1 and 2/3 would be over here because it's past this 1 and it lands on the 2/3. 1 and 2/3. Okay. All right, let's do some more practice and I'll draw myself another number line too and you can draw you one. Let me get a number line drawn back up here. And while I'm drawing mine, you can draw yours. Let's do 0, 1, and 2 again. So I'll go ahead and label mine 0, 1, and 2. Now remember, these are your whole numbers, 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to give you, and I want you to try to find the fraction for 1 and 3/5. I want you to try to find the spot on the number line for 1 and 3/5. You can pause the video and do your work, and then we can check yourself. Or if you are unsure of yourself, of course, you can just work right along with me as well, too. It's up to you. All right, 1 and 3/5. Let's look at this. Now this one, this is a mixed number. Remember, it's the whole number plus the fraction. What is the whole number in that mixed number up there? Good. The whole number is the 1. So when you see 1 plus a fraction, you automatically know that it has to be bigger than 1 because it's got a little fraction part. It's got extra with it. Remember, you have the only thing to the left of this 1 would be just the fractions. You would not have a 1 over here because this is smaller than 1. Anything to the right of the 1 is going to be bigger than 1. Okay? So when you're thinking about 1 and 3/5, we know it has to be bigger than the 1. It's going to be smaller than the 2 because it doesn't have a 2 as a whole number. It has a 1. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to figure out 1 and 3/5. So now that I know my whole number, it's going to come between 1 and 2. Let's take care of the fraction, 3/5. Well, I know it's in fifths. I know this 2 over here must be my 5/5. Well, I can go ahead and label it 5/5 because that's my next whole number. So all I got to do now is divide between 1 and 2. I've got to divide it into fifths. So I'm going to go, this would be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and of course this one, this whole number line over here would be your 5/5. So I need 4 little lines in between the 1 and the 2. All right, and remember, when you come off of the 1, we're coming off the 1. We're not coming off the 0 this time because of this whole number that was there. When you come off of the 1, that's 1 jump. That's your 1/5. You jump a second time, that's 2/5. You jump a third time, that's 3/5. You jump a fourth time, that's 4/5. You jump a fifth time, that's your 5/5. So that's your next whole number. So now when I'm trying to find 1 and 3/5, I know I have to go past the 1. It's going to be less than the 2 because it's not got a 2 as the whole number. 1 3/5 would be right here. You could also say, when you were labeling, if it helps you, you could say, okay, this is 1 1/5, 1 2/5. You can go ahead and put that whole number there with it too. 1 3/5, 1 4/5, 1 5/5, which 1 5/5 you would know would be, what this means would be there's that 1 plus this other whole that you just made. Remember, 5 out of 5 is a whole nother piece, and that's where you get your 2 for this number line. Okay, so you've got some practice to keep working with number lines. Just be careful of paying attention to your whole numbers, and on your number line, making sure you know what whole number to start with. Number.